A lot of times, our passions are directly tied to our love of life. And so, if you're not currently loving life, you might not currently love your passions. You might not be inclined to, practice your passions. And take that with a grain of salt. That's not an absolute truth. I'm not trying to say it is. I'm just saying, sometimes this is the case. And for me, this is the case. The only exception for me and for a lot of people, I think, is art. It's a bit easier to alchemize sadness, depression, pain into art. I think because art is very raw and it can be very raw, it's easier, right? Like if you're going through something really deep, really painful, for me as a poet, sometimes I'll write it fresh in my mind on the paper and it's very rough, it's very raw, it's just how I feel in the moment. And then when I'm feeling a bit better, then I'll come back to it and I'll kind of tweak it. So like when it comes to art, when I'm going through a deep depression, it's very easy for me to dive into my art. It's very easy for me to create art. But when I am going through it, it's a lot harder for me to do like passion projects. So like things that need refinement, things that can't always be super raw, things that I have to think about. And in this case, it's my videos. I felt like disconnected from God. I felt disconnected from Christ. I felt, like how am I gonna, like I felt like I was stumbling over my words. I didn't know what to say. I wasn't even thinking about it. Like the weeks came and went and I wasn't even thinking about making a video. I was thinking about how am I gonna get myself out of this hole that I put myself in. So, although it's very easy for me to get mad at God and to blame God and why'd you throw all this at me in the same month? Why couldn't you spread it out? Why couldn't this happen? Why couldn't this happen? And I mean, it's irrelevant at the end of the day because it happened. And part of the reason I've been in a mode where I haven't been, making these videos is because I was in survival mode. And essentially this video is about survival mode because if you look at economics, if you look at psychology, you'll see that people that are successful, they're never in survival mode. They'll lose $1 million, their business will crumble, and they're like, well, I'm gonna pick up the pieces and I'm gonna hit it again. They're not, in survival mode. Like the security is not real. There is no security. At any given moment, God, the universe, his own actions can come down on him like a hammer and take away everything that he built. And this is true for all of us. At any given moment, your life can be taken away from you. You can be stressed about this job. You can be stressed about your kids. You can be stressed about your house, your car, all these different things. And tomorrow is not even guaranteed. You can live a whole day in stress and in worry, and you were going to pass away tomorrow. And if you knew that you were going to pass away tomorrow, what would you do differently? Oh, you'd probably, damn, I only have $100 left. Fuck it, I'm going to go get sushi. If you're going through the shit, if you're going through that dark tunnel, you're still alive. You should still be living life. You should still be enjoying life. Even if you had the worst day, the worst week, the worst month, the worst year of your life, you should still be living your life. And part of that is having fun. Part of that is doing things. Part of that is being excited for things. The whole reason why I'm recording right now, me getting ready, is because I did everything I have to do today. And I was sitting here in my room, in bed, watching anime, doom scrolling. And I just felt sad. I felt depressed. I felt like, man, I don't feel like I'm enjoying life right now. Okay, well let me feel better. Let me do something productive. Well, like I already did a lot today, and part of pleasure, real pleasure. I'm not talking about sinful pleasure. You don't get pleasure from just having fun. You could get pleasure from work. You can get pleasure from resting. You can get pleasure from doing things that are fun. You can get pleasure from seeing your family, connection, right? These all give us pleasure. And you have to give yourself the pleasure that you need. And so I gave myself pleasure today by working, by doing the things I need to do. Okay, rest. Okay, well, I was laying in bed for like 2 hours, doom scrolling, watching reels, you know, watching anime. Okay, I got my rest. That I got the pleasure from work. I got the pleasure from rest. Okay, now what's next? I don't know. I feel like having fun. I was like, you know what? Well, I feel like having some fun. I feel like, going outside, living. I feel like living life and breathing and like saying things. I just want to experience. I'm tired of being in my room. I want to experience. And then the survival mindset kicked in. I was like, wait a minute, but you don't have money. But it's already, 7 p.m. You shouldn't be spending money on anything. You shouldn't, you gotta do nothing. Just sit in your room and do nothing and don't spend anything and just be scared. And it's like, why? Because tomorrow's not guaranteed. Maybe I sit around and wait for this job application. And in 3 days I pass away. And it's like, what did I do in those 3 days? I sat in my room doing nothing? Like, the fuck? I'm not doing that, Okay. Well, it wasn't like I was doing nothing. I did my work, right? I did the things I have to do. And the point I'm trying to make is that even if life is beating you down, even if you feel like you need to survive, living life is about living and enjoying it. If you look at, and you could be like, oh, what if you're in survival? What if you're in a survival scenario where you literally have to survive? It doesn't change anything. If you look at nature, you see bears, they hunt all day. They hunt all day and do what they have to do. They fight other bears, they scrap. And what do they do after long days? Studies show that bears love to sit down and enjoy a sunset. They like to sit and enjoy and have pleasure and to be like, you know what? I had to scrap with that one bear because he was trying to be in my territory. I'm going to just watch the sunset and chill out. I'm going to take a nap. I'm going to chill. It's like, life is serious, but that doesn't mean that we have to just be in a state of survival, of trying to snatch and grab at everything around us like we're crawling out of a pit. And it's like, how do you get out of a pit? How do you get out of anything? Is it by panicking? No. Is it by, yelling and screaming and like, throwing a hissy fit? No, it's quite the opposite. And it's about, controlling your emotions and doing what you want to do and being like, you know what? Well, it is what it is. I want to go and enjoy the last bit of my day. Maybe I will spend some money. Maybe I will, but I'm going to get it back because I love money. Money loves me. You know what I'm saying? And I know I'm going to get there. I know I'm going to get what I need to get. And, I'm putting in the work. And that's to say, like, if you're not putting in the work, then you got to put in the work. Then you have to earn it. You have to, like, the thing about true pleasure is it's never going to feel bad. It's never going to feel guilty. It's never going to feel like it's taking away from you. It's only going to feel like it's giving to you. And I think that's how you really tell between what's like sin, what's bad, what's draining you, and what's, fulfilling you. Because, okay, let's talk about real pleasure, like rest. What if you're lying in bed doom scrolling all day, all night? Is that real rest? No. After doom scrolling for 5 hours, do you feel restful? No, you're like, man, I feel like poop. I want to take a nap. I just feel like crap, right? Okay, but what if you sleep for 5 hours? Oh, now it's a different story. Now you feel good. You feel restful. You feel, energized. X, Y, and Z. It's just figuring out what is good for us and what is bad for us through your intuition, through what feels right. And there's a lot of people that say, oh, don't follow your heart, don't follow your intuition or whatever. And I'm not saying to just follow pleasure blindly. I'm not saying to be hedonistic. I'm saying, pleasure is something that agrees with your heart, your mind, and your soul. When I go on a walk around the park, that heals my soul, it heals my heart, it heals my mind. Like, I feel good. When I stay up all night watching TV, it doesn't feel good for my heart. It doesn't feel good for my soul or my mind. Like Like, I wake up the next morning, I'm like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. Damn, I didn't really enjoy that. And damn, that didn't fulfill me, didn't fulfill my soul. And so we have to ask ourselves these questions so that we can have good pleasure. Because even if your life is crumbling, that shouldn't mean that you don't deserve to enjoy life. Our God-given right is to enjoy life. And I'm not saying that like it's gonna be sunshine and rainbows. Like, no. Like, I'll give you an example. When I was working at O'Hare, and there's the people that check in immigration customs, you know, the officer that checks your paperwork, you can notice who is enjoying life and who is hating life because it is blatantly obvious. The worker that is enjoying life, you know, he's like smiling, he's laughing, he's singing. He's like, oh, how you doing today? Oh, I love your outfit. Oh, you know, awesome, you know. And, you know, he's enjoying life, you know. And I'm not even saying being an extrovert is how you enjoy life. You can be an introvert and enjoy life. Maybe he's singing to himself. Maybe he's, you know, like headphones on, you know, and he's not even talking to anybody. He's just enjoying life, right? And then you have the opposite. It's like the worker that is, you know, doesn't even acknowledge me. I'm like, oh, how you doing? Next. And it's like, damn, bro, like, live a little. Like, you're at work, I get it, you know, it sucks, but does it? You know, sometimes I don't realize that when we're at work, these are the moments where we get to experience the most. When I'm at home, in the comfort of my home, in the comfort of my bed, I have nothing to experience. My room, I could look at my room more deeper. I organize my room. I know where everything is at. You know, I could clean my room. That's fulfilling. I could watch TV. That's, you know, kind of fulfilling, right? You know, for everyone is different. For me, you know, I enjoy it, but not too much. Okay, I experienced it. Now what's next? Nothing. Okay, you're at work, and it's like, let's say you work at McDonald's, right? The possibilities of people that can come in and you can have conversations with them and you can learn and you can experience and you can laugh and you can, you know, you can have all these different experiences at work. Oh, you're learning, you're like, you know, you're with your coworkers. Maybe your coworkers are assholes, you know, but like, it's still an experience. It's fun. You know, when you're in a video game and when you're watching a movie, what makes it interesting? It's the assholes. It's the interesting characters. It's the people that are like, you know, in their own world. It's like, that's what makes it interesting. That's what makes life interesting. And when we're at work, when we're outside, this is when we get to experience that. You don't get to experience that in the comfort of your home, you know? Obviously, going out with friends, you know, seeing your loved ones, you know, it's experiencing life too. But the point I'm trying to make is, even the mundane, even the things that we classify as mundane and boring and garbage and just like, oh, I gotta go to work, oh, I gotta do this. And I've been guilty of that. I've done that before. I've been like, damn, I don't want to go to work. But then it's like the gym. It's like, you don't want to go to the gym, you go to the gym, then you love it and you feel great afterwards. And it's the same for me at work. When I was at Prospect, that was one of my favorite jobs because I would just meet so many different people, you know, and okay, maybe I'm feeling introverted that day. Okay, well, I'll put music in. I'm not supposed to, but I'll put music in and I'll listen to music and, you know, I'm walking, I'm in my own world, I'm dancing. I'm enjoying life, right? And I guess the point I'm trying to make is, you know, life is what you make it, and don't let the external affect your internal. And when your external affects your internal, then it affects your external, right? Because when I was making my videos, I was loving life, I was doing my run club, I felt good, I felt great. What's changed since then? Oh, I don't have a job. I have things. I have less money. But what's really changed? I still have the time to do the things I love. I still have, you know, like I said, like I have things to be grateful for. I'm not in pain in this very moment. The only thing that's in pain is up here. I'm worrying, and I feel like worrying a lot, being very worrisome, is not healthy for your soul. It's not healthy for your mind. Because what good comes from worrying? Nothing really, you know. Like I said, the millionaires, the billionaires, the people that, you know, have a lot of wealth, they didn't get there through worrying about things. They got there through like the opposite, quite literally, taking risks, right? They say, "Oh, if you take risks, that's how you make it big." You don't take risks if you're filled with worry. You don't follow your dreams if you're filled with worry. You don't do the things you want to do if you're filled with worry. If you put all the worry of the world into one person, they would be in their room, in a bubble, not doing nothing. I'm scared of going on that roller coaster. I'm not going to go on. I'm scared to accept that job. I'm not going to take it. I'm scared of this. I'm scared. I'm worrisome. I'm not going to do it. Well, then you're not going to live. And that's what I've kind of been realizing in this period of my life, is that I'm going through one of the toughest times I've gone through objectively, right? Externally. Because I have more bills. I have more responsibilities. I have more to worry about, right? And I lost a lot. I lost my job. I lost essentially my license, right? My driving rights. I lost my brother. He moved to Florida. I'm gonna lose my homie. He's gonna move to Kankakee. You know, I lost a lot. There's more that I haven't even thought of because it's just been so much. This entire month has just been back to back to back things I have to worry about. And I just realized there's no space for worry and all that. There isn't. Like in all of the problems in our life, there's no space for worry. And it doesn't bring anything, you know? When I was in those periods of worry, I didn't accomplish anything. It wasn't until I calmed down, looked at it objectively, and did what I needed to do that I felt better. If I was sitting in worry right now, I would have been self-soothing. I would have been self-coping. I would have been smoking, drinking. I would have been... And it's like, no, what do I have to worry about? Nothing. I'm going to go. I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to live. I don't even know what I'm going to do yet. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to come back. I'm going to get some good sleep. And tomorrow, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do what I have to do. Try to figure out, apply to jobs. Try to see if I could Uber Eats. Try to, see what I can do to make money. Do that. Maybe clean a bit. Maybe rest a bit. And then have some more pleasure. And then that's really all it is, And the thing is, it doesn't change. If I was homeless, maybe my pleasure would have been going to the beach. Okay, you're a millionaire. Your pleasure is, going to the golf range. You're a college student. Maybe your pleasure is, playing video games. You just can't abuse. You have to keep it balanced. You still have to work. You still have to, because the homeless guy, if he's at the beach all day, he's not going to get out of that hole. He's not going to get out that pickle. So maybe he has to panhandle until he makes $100, and then use that $100 to buy a new outfit, and then and then he has to figure out a way to get out of there. But once he's done all the things he needed to do that day, is he not allowed to enjoy, the fruits of his labor? Is he not allowed to rest and to sit at the beach and maybe have a cigarette, maybe have a beer, like sometimes I see people judge homeless people because they're drinking and smoking, and they're like, oh, like he should be doing something else with his money. And it's like, maybe he is, I'm going through a rough patch, and like I've bought some things, I'm not as bad as I used to be, like don't get me wrong, maybe there is some homeless people that spend it all on drugs and alcohol, but how are you gonna point fingers when you're also self-soothing, when you're also, you just have, you could afford it, shit, maybe they can afford it too, like you really don't know. You know what I'm saying? That's all I really got. I'm kind of just rambling now. I think I made my point. But yeah, outfit. I feel like I like it. I was was craving something more clean, more like, I don't know. I was kind of getting tired of the same old fits. I've been staring at this shirt for a while. Kind of wanted to wear it, but yeah. Point is, don't worry about all the shit that's going on, and don't forget to enjoy life, because you only get one.